So I just want to start formally,
Okay.
just by saying that. So Brian is, I work with Brian for like I think I worked with you from 2013 or 2012 to 2018. So that's like 5 plus years. And so you're I'm not trying to butter you up, but then you're one of my favorite managers
Oh,
actually.
wow. No, no. I thought you'd be on to two or three more by now. Favorite managers, that is.
So
Oh, thanks.
yeah, and uh, yeah, you're always like very you're not like uh, panicky, or you're always calm when you're troubleshooting issues, and you've done like other things, right? So you've been doing this for what, like more than 20 years, right?
25, 25. Somebody asked
20.
me the other day, and I think it's 26 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, you think I'd
So
get out of it by now?
yeah. No, I think you're too good actually to
The
get out.
challenges, yeah, it's too interesting. The challenges, right? It's
Yeah.
every day I learn. I'm still learning something new every day.
Yeah, now there is more to learn, right?
Oh
Like
yeah.
there's so much
Working at
that
Amazon is it's a fire hydrant. You're drinking from a fire hydrant at times. There's just so much coming at you.
yeah,
And, yeah.
yeah, sometimes it's overwhelming, but
Yep.
yeah, this, like I said, we were speaking before the call, the recording started, right? So but yeah, I went through so much of learning this year. I kind of immersed myself into DevOps because I am in this infrastructure as code team, right? So it's all. So I needed to learn Python automation. I needed to learn about Spinnaker. Spinnaker is a CI/CD pipeline creation tool. I had to learn uh, Docker a little bit. So Docker is a container tool, um, and then there's so much. And AWS itself. So we use AWS, right? Um, so AWS and all the cool stuff that AWS offers, like 3AZ and so on. And good thing is actually I get to do that. It's not like I have to learn, like everything is totally unknown to me, like because Oracle is still like
That's easy for you.
our comfort zone actually, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but I realized, knowing, if you know how to, like if you're a good developer, or if you know how to do Python automation plus Oracle skills, like that's actually a great combination. Yeah. So what I wanted to ask you was like, so you've been at DBA for like 26 years now. How do you actually like keep yourself motivated? Because like I'm just like 12, 13 years in now. I'm like, sometimes actually it can get boring. So how do you actually like, you know?
It's a
So
great question.
yeah,
So
because I've always seen you like come early in the morning, like 7,
I'm
7:30.
still doing that. I'm still
Yeah,
online at 7 a.m.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, because the rest of my team or the what I'm on, right? They may be Germany and East Coast and the rest, and so they're all different times. And so
yeah,
um, there's a bunch of serendipity going on there
yeah,
because Amazon has just so much going on, and that right. So just like you, there are times where you're like, oh, I'm bored with this part of it, and
yeah,
then it's just strange. But a week later or a day later, you get put on a new assignment and it's something that you haven't worked on. It's Oracle, but it's maybe Oracle converting to Postgres, right?
yeah.
And so,
Migration.
yeah, so the beauty of the, the beauty of the job that I'm in now, it changes with every assignment.
Mm,
So I may be on one assignment for 2 months, converting somebody over to Aurora Postgres, and then the next assignment is tuning Oracle at a different company, completely different group, completely different folks. So the challenges are varying. So I like that. It keeps me.
mm,
It's not like you're going to be on the same thing for years. Like at StubHub,
yeah,
you were firefighting all the time,
yeah,
and here it's
yeah.
it's different
I
every
think
time.
this role is kind of unique because you're a consultant. Like you can be put on any project. Like
Right.
with each client, the requirements are different. So you're working on
Exactly.
different things, right?
And they
So
expect you to know
yeah,
when you come in as an Amazon senior consultant. of the database side,
Yeah.
they're like, well, you must know everything about Oracle and you must know everything about Postgres and MySQL. And I'm very clear. No, no, Oracle is my sweet spot. I can do Postgres, I can do MySQL, but that's not what they hired me for the Oracle side.
Did you? I think you were looking into Postgres, right? At some point,
Right.
actually.
Yep. As
You
my
know,
secondary skill. Yep. And I
okay.
still am. It's on the
How,
whiteboard behind me.
okay. So how different is it actually, Postgres from
I like
Oracle?
it. I'm
Yeah.
loving it. Right. The community based part of that is really cool where
Yeah.
people are, they can add in all these extensions. Like yesterday I was working on, so ashtop to now coder script relies on the active session history view, but there's nothing like that in Postgres.
Mm-hmm.
So a guy wrote a C program to do that. And so it's an extension. You know how in Postgres you say create extension.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden I have active session history in Postgres.
Yeah.
So I brought all my tuning scripts into Postgres.
That's cool, actually. That's one of the
Yeah,
things that you do so well. Like with the like you have all these handy scripts, and I
yeah.
miss them actually. I thought like I copied the files, but then I don't have it anymore.
Oh, I
I
still have them. I can give
Yeah.
them all to you. Yeah,
Yeah.
yep. I can give you a link because
Yeah.
yeah, a bunch of StubHub folks are like, hey, what about script A? What about script B?
Yeah.
Right? And people are saying, have you made any enhancements to this and this and this?
Yeah.
So
I remember, even if it takes like two letters, and you would create like one letter alias to.
yeah, and
So
I'm
you're
doing it
like,
now. I'm doing it at Amazon, and I'm showing folks. I'm telling them, and so on my last assignment, um, it was we were with a big giant company, and they said, what is this script, what is this script, and why are you calling it AUW? I said, oh, it's all user weight. And they said, why don't you type out all user weight? And I said, after you run it 1,000 times over 10 years, you're not going to want to type that all out.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
Sometimes I type SI now. Like,
You do?
it's
Yeah,
so in my
by
like in a
habit.
body actually. So
Yeah,
I type SI, and yeah, sometimes it's part of me now.
yeah.
Because Oracle DBAs are challenged like so much now, right? Especially, uh, you know, uh, so a lot of people like I speak to, they say Oracle is like that, it's slowly dying and things like
We've been
that.
hearing that for 20 years.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So
yeah,
what
it's
is your
always
perspective on that actually?
right. A lot of people have been saying that to me for so many years, and
Yeah,
yet, and I say, are you going to run your financials? Where are you going to run your financials? Are you going to run it on Postgres or MySQL, or are you running on Oracle? And they say, oh, we're running that on Oracle. We wouldn't, you know. And it may be someday down the road that the open source and the private ones catch up, but there's still right. It's still a lot of features inside of Oracle
yeah.
that are not inside of MySQL or Postgres, but it's getting better, right? Every release they
And
get better.
yeah, what I think about is, this is how I think about it. Like we went from 100%, like, it used to be like, if you know just Oracle alone, there were so many opportunities, right,
Right.
in the market. Now that's not enough anymore. Like you need to know Oracle and let's say Postgres or MySQL, or also NoSQL
Yep.
in other kinds of databases actually.
You have to be
Um,
very agile DBA.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
The job market for a specific Oracle person only is really smaller and smaller, I think, every year. And
right,
it'll continue to drop out.
right. Yeah, it's kind of transforming the Oracle, traditional Oracle DBA role. It's like
Yep.
transforming into different titles actually. I think Oracle DBAs don't have to worry, right? It's my,
Not quite yet.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
But you should have a second skill, right? And so
yeah,
I always wanted a second database skill. Not that you can start up and shut down a database, but you could actually present it to a company that is migrating from Oracle to that one and say, "Yep, I can do more than lift and shift for you.
right.
I can tune it, right? I can figure these little caveats out, these corner cases, because yeah, there's a lot of DBAs that can just create table, create
Hmm.
index, but what happens when it starts crashing? What happens when the
Yeah,
performance is bad?
yeah. Those things can be automated now, right? Like, or a lot of those things, like several things that we used to do, like export, import, and things like that. All of that, all those things will become, you know,
Yeah.
button
And
clicks
you
now.
and you don't want to be the DBA. You'd be so bored doing button clicks all day.
Yeah, yeah. So is that what you would advise, like all these folks, which are probably like the folks who are scared about their future, actually, like, you know, you the way you prepared yourself is like you were saying. So I know that you started with Postgres SQL, and then you were learning for this solution architect certification.
Right.
And what else actually did you learn?
I got the database specialty certificate also. So
Right, right.
the thing about Amazon is you can get a free account. I know this sounds like a commercial, right? But you get a free account for a year.
Yeah, yeah,
And so you could do anything you want with that account as long as it stays in the free tier. So
yeah.
you could get there's 12 certifications. Um, and I see people that start with 0 certifications. And
Hmm.
then there's some people that do 2 certifications every 2 weeks. And these people, the calls that start coming into these folks, and I've talked to them, they said, you know, I went from no interest on LinkedIn, you can see how many people are clicking,
Yeah,
to like 20 clicks a day because they keep adding these certificates onto their profile.
yeah.
And
So,
for $200, why wouldn't you do that? Right, for a test, the
oh
$200
yeah,
for the test.
yeah.
Yeah.
So how did you prepare? Like, did you like take a course or something, or you
So
can
yeah,
just?
I'm a big fan of Udemy,
Okay,
Udemy,
okay.
and so I paid the $50 a year for that.
Yeah.
A Cloud Guru.
Hmm.
I've done that one a lot.
Ryan Kroonberg.
Yeah, he's great.
I
Oh,
know
you
that
know
guy.
him? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yep.
So
And so you know, you
for
go through those
database
courses.
specialty, like again, Udemy, like a
That
different course.
Yeah,
That
that was a harder one, the
okay.
database specialty, right? Because there are no courses out there for it yet. Like the solutions architect,
Hmm.
that's so well versed and so many people take it.
Right,
There's a specific course for that.
right.
But the database specialty, there isn't one for that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. So how did you prepare for it actually?
So you can actually ask um, some of the other folks that have taken the test, right? If you
Yeah,
Google people that
yeah.
have taken that, they'll
Hmm.
say, be versed in these 7 databases, and not just startup shutdown, but right, what happens if I have to migrate from A to B? And so uh, what I did is I actually went into the console and I created databases in each one of those languages or each one of those whatever.
Hmm.
And then I started playing with them. How do I back it up? How do I shut it down? Right? How do I see who's logged in?
Hmm.
And that part, and then when the test comes and you're in that time test of 180 minutes, and the question comes up, it says, you have a customer, he's got a 14 terabyte database that needs to be migrated over, you know, a small pipeline in 7 hours. How do you do
Mm,
it?
mm.
So that was
Okay,
a good one.
okay.
It was a challenging test,
Mm,
the specialty one, but I liked it.
okay. So it's still like choose the correct answer type of questions, or
Yeah,
okay,
yep. Now all Amazon is like that. All the
okay,
tests are.
okay.
And if you Google around enough, you'll
Yeah,
figure out
yeah.
that there's a special formula for
Mm-hmm.
those tests.
Mm.
If there's 4 answers out there, 2 of those are probably not right.
Right, right.
You get rid of those 2. The
Mm,
other 2 are going to be very close,
mm.
but there's one thing wrong with one of them, or different, slightly wrong. And
Okay.
when
Yeah,
you get to the harder tests,
yeah.
you've only got like a minute per question, right? Or 2 minutes on some of these really tough ones.
Right, right.
So if you don't have a strategy,
Mm.
you would never make it through the test.
Okay. So AWS solution architect, but you know what? There is this site called Skillshare, pretty much like
Okay, I haven't seen that one.
not Skillshare, plural site,
Oh
plural
yeah,
site. Yeah,
yeah, we had that at StubHub. Yep.
yeah. So they have like some courses on database specialty
Oh, I didn't see that one.
certification. Yeah,
Okay.
AWS database specialty. Yeah. I started looking into it. Then I thought, okay, let me do the solution architect certification first, and then move on to other certifications actually.
That's a good one. That's why
Yeah.
everybody that starts at Amazon has to have the solutions architect.
Mm.
Your first 2 months, you have to have if you're a salesperson, there's a solutions architect cloud something maybe.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a high level. But if you're a technical person, you have to get the solutions
Yeah.
architect
Cloud,
associate.
I think cloud practitioner.
That's it.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
is one called cloud
It's a
practitioner.
little bit higher
Yeah,
level.
yeah,
Yep.
cool.
That's a good base. That's a good base to start with.
Hmm.
The solutions architect.
So so there is two things, right? One is the job and the other one is interview. So interview, like preparing for interview is like so much more difficult
Right.
that, like, in a job actually you can ask around for help, and then you can like take your time to do things actually. But in an interview, like you're just alone and on the spot actually.
Right.
So so how did you prepare for the interview itself actually? I know, like, you
So yeah,
with
Amazon has
Oracle,
got,
you probably don't have to do much. It's
yeah,
probably, yeah,
the first couple interviews that are technical, the
yeah,
Oracle ones
yeah.
for you and I, right, in Oracle, it just kind of flows off the tongue. But Amazon is very big on behavioral.
Hmm.
How do you react in this situation? How do you do this? And so they hook you up with a coach.
Hmm.
They'll say, you have an interview coming up, next week. And so you need to come up with 15 different stories. They call them STAR: situation, task, action, result.
Yeah, yeah.
And you need to come up with those. You need to know them backwards and forwards. And you can't reuse the same one for each interview. So if you interviewed me, you may ask me 6 different stories. 20 minutes later, I'm on to my next interview. They don't really want you using those same 6 over again, because the guy's
Hmm.
going to say, tell me about a time on the project that failed. And you may have this one terrific story, but you told it to the last interviewer.
Hmm.
And so they want you to have enough breadth and depth that you can go from one story to another.
Hmm.
And you can't make it up. They'll quickly call you out on that. Yeah. So,
Okay.
but luckily, right, with StubHub and Digital River and the rest, it was easy to come up with 15 situations, and you
Yeah,
just practice them.
yeah,
You
yeah.
just,
I mean,
teach yourself.
so once you identify them, it's easy, right? Like
Right.
you don't have to, because you did work on them,
Right.
and like what happened.
Sure.
So
I've been on
you can,
projects that failed. I can tell
yeah,
you, right? And I've
yeah,
been on projects that were success.
yeah.
So if you write down the details about just the high level,
So did they throw a lot of curveballs, or like is it like, okay,
there's
you,
some curveballs in there, yeah, because kind of like when you and I were interviewing folks, we start
hmm,
off really easy. And then if you know a lot, I'll start
yeah,
pressuring you harder and harder.
yeah,
And then they want you to know some of the product, right? So luckily, one of the coaches and tips said, right, start working on the solutions architect before you interview.
mm, mm,
And so one of the guys that was asking me about databases said, he worded it somehow, and he was like, well, is there a tool out there that could help in this specific situation? I've got this, I've got a 1 exabyte database and I need it to be transferred in a day or two.
mm.
And I was like, oh, Amazon makes something called Snowball
Oh
and
yeah.
Edge. Yeah. And he was like, got it. Yep. And he's like, oh yeah, yep. So, but if
It,
I wouldn't have taken the solutions
there's a
architect,
snowball and then snowball something, right? There's two of them.
yeah, there's a
There's
snowball and then there's a, the
snowball
one,
something.
yeah, one is the little box and one
Yeah,
is a semi trailer.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So
I
they,
was just I just had I was actually like doing the courses, Udemy courses, like
okay,
yesterday. I was learning about that actually. Anyway,
that's
yeah,
good. Yeah. Cause
yeah,
they'll ask you in an interview and it might, if you didn't know about it, you
yeah.
might say, oh, I'm sure there's a tool out there, but they're like, okay, so you didn't really
Hmm,
study the Amazon product.
cool.
Yep.
Yeah. So what else actually can you actually, like, if you had to advise, like, if somebody, like, let's say someone with okay, let's take like a fresher, right? A fresher who is just coming out of college and he is like interested in databases. So what would be your advice for him, as opposed to people who've been just working on just Oracle for so long? and what would be your advice for that person actually will
For
help
somebody that's brand
my
new,
audience. Yeah.
and there's so many channels out there now
Yeah.
that for less than a couple $100, you can get all these certifications, right?
Right.
And so you can go through the class at your own pace, or you can go to a real online class. Um, the training has changed so much, and the certifications are worth so much now, right? So when I see somebody that's got 7 or 8 Amazon certifications, I'm like, wow, that's impressive. And the recruiters are seeing that too. They're saying, okay, and you can be very open and honest and say, I have 8 certifications, but I don't have any real world experience yet. And they'll say, it doesn't matter, right? You took the time and that little bit of money and you studied and you got these certifications. We'll teach you.
Yeah.
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 Amazon told me, I told them, I said, I have a solutions architect that I just got like the day before the
Mm-hmm.
interview started.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, but I don't know. I don't know Postgres. I don't know your Aurora products. And they said, that's totally cool. We don't want you for your Aurora skills yet. We want you for your Oracle skills. And we can teach you everything else.
Yeah. So you've been in management also, right? Like you were my manager.
Yeah.
So how do you like that actually?
And
Or
so so somebody asked me that. Somebody said, well, you were a senior manager of operations at StubHub, but now you're technical.
yeah.
And I said, and I was very clear. I said, I never really left the technical side.
Yeah.
They brought me in to manage folks, but I still kept my fingers in the technical side. And
Right.
so it's actually been probably one of the biggest blessings that I've had is
Yeah.
that in my last assignment, they brought me in and there was this, crud going on and uncertainty, and people are using 4 different Slack channels. And so my manager instinct said, one Slack channel, we have a daily status in the morning, we have a daily status at night. Johnny, you do this, Brian, you do this, that kind of thing. And then we all went to our technical ways. And so I like being able to go back and forth on
Yeah.
some of that.
Yeah. So I mean, I personally, I know you like because you're very good at organizing. Like even your vacations, you plan way
I'm
ahead
still
actually.
that way. I'm still, everything is organized. Yes.
Yeah. So cool actually.
Oh, yeah. The OneNote, right? I still use OneNote for
Oh
all my
yeah.
organization, all my projects, all my assignments.
Right.
And I'm showing other senior folks, I'm like, use this tool, OneNote. And they can't believe how easy it is to structure your life with Microsoft OneNote.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, one of the things I noticed actually, like, recently, right? Because I work alongside developers, like software engineers, actually. Um, and I like, they take so much notes, and like as they're thinking, they write it down like in a document.
Okay.
And it's just like, when they bring an idea to like to the management, it's already like they have all the points jotted down. And then it's, you know and even like, as they work actually, they document like a lot. They document a lot. And which production support people, like, I've been in production support for a long time. Like, you move from one issue to another, right? You say like, and then maybe we write down like 2 3 things, or an email, send an
It's
email,
tougher.
that's
That's
it, right?
right.
So that is actually a huge difference that I've noticed working with developers. Like, they just take so much notes, a lot of documentation. uh, I mean, of course, it depends on how much time you have. Like, if you're so busy, then
It's a different, right? It's a whole different world, right?
yeah.
Production support, firefighting
Yeah.
versus having time, right? You don't have that CIO Marty standing above you saying, have you started the database yet? Have you
Yeah.
restarted it? What's the problem? We've
Yeah.
been down 5 minutes, you know?
Yeah. Perhaps that's something that I'm trying to do as well. Like, any idea that comes through, like that comes to my mind, I just like, I, I try to like put some initial design, initial design diagram out there, and then like then it's easy to talk about it in meetings. And I
Yeah.
try to, that's something that I picked up actually. And we use this collaboration tool called Quip.
Yeah.
Quip is It's
Amazon too.
just like Google Docs, but it's just Quip, and then it's a handy tool, and a lot of people can look at it, and they can offer their comments, feedback, whatever. So that's all I wanted to ask. Actually, I know, like, so what I have realized is, uh, like, the interviews are the most difficult part. So once you get through them, then there's
Oh,
definitely,
definitely.
like, you
Yeah.
can actually, like, you can learn. You can be on your toes, and as long as you're learning continuously,
Yeah.
you're okay. Like,
Yeah. I mean, and there's so many YouTube videos for Amazon on how to ace the interview,
yeah,
and then practice with your buddy, right?
yeah,
I've had a couple StubHub folks call me, email me, and say, "What does the Amazon interview look like? How do I get through it?" And I said, I could be the interviewer, because that's part, as a new Amazon person,
yeah,
you have to, 6 months after you're there, I have to start interviewing folks. I have to be part of the interview process. That's
yeah.
another part of the thing they do. And so, yeah, just practice your star stories, right? Get comfortable. You wouldn't believe how many people are just so frightened of speaking, right?
Mm,
And just speaking to it like this on a camera, they'd be like, "Oh my God, I'm on a camera. And
yeah,
what if I say something wrong, right?" Or,
yeah. The job market is wide open for Oracle folks, and as long as they are learning NoSQL, and, like, these are things that, like, there are several ways you can go from being an Oracle DBA, like 100% Oracle DBA. Like, you can, uh, obviously, like, because pretty much every company is moving to cloud, right?
a lot, yeah,
Yeah, they're 70% are going to AWS, and like 10% on GCP, and, like, Azure. Microsoft
yeah.
Azure is famous. They have their own stack. So you will go from working for, like, let's say, a product company to AWS, mostly like AWS or my. So you have to prepare for that, actually.
And why not, right? I mean, why not? There's so many classes out there, and it's so cheap
Yeah,
to learn this. Why not? Why
yeah,
not get those certificates and learn? It doesn't have to be AWS. It could be, like you said, it could be GCP, or,
yeah,
right. If you really want to bulletproof your stuff, do both.
yeah,
Get a GCP certificate and an AWS certificate. There'll be people calling you night and day.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, all right. I think we're almost time, and
Okay, yeah,
I
I've
just
got
want
another.
to.
I got to take off. So
Yeah, yeah,
this has been really good.
yeah, yeah. Thank you so much, actually.